गुड मॉर्निंग व्यूअर्स। आज तवी टेल्स की हम एपिसोड 25 पे हैं। हमारी एक छोटी सी कोशिश थी कि हम जितने भी डोगरा ल्यूमिनरीज हैं, डोगरा जिन्होंने बहुत अच्छे काम किए, जिनको हम हमेशा डोगरा रतन कहते हैं, उनको हम कवर कर सके थ्रू तवी टेल्स। और आज हमारी छोटी सी जर्नी का एक माइलस्टोन है, विच इज एपिसोड 25। 25वें एपिसोड, इवन दो सोचने में लगता है छोटी है, लेकिन 25 नवरत्नों को कवर करना, डोगरा रत्नों को कवर करना इज इट सेल्फ अ टफ वन। एंड मैंने और डॉक्टर विकास ने व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड दिस, वी थॉट कि इजी रहेगा, जर्नी टफ रही, बिकॉज कहीं ना कहीं अपने टाइम को भी मैनेज करना पड़ता है, और गेस्ट जो है उनके टाइम को भी। आज एपिसोड 25 इसलिए भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि हमारे बीच में है डॉक्टर ज्योत्सना सिंह। As a Dogra, it's a matter of great pride for us today. Jyotsna ma'am, the distinguished scholar, and she belongs to the royal family of Jammu and Kashmir, has graced Tawi Tales with her presence. Ma'am, we are really, really honored that you have consented to be part of Tawi Tales. Ma'am is not only the princess of Jammu and Kashmir, but also an icon for all Dogras. Ma'am, you inspire us through your intellect, your grace, and unwavering commitment to preserve and celebrate our Dogra cultural identity. Ma'am is a distinguished philosopher, visionary founder of Dara Shikoh Centre, and honorary director of Amar Mahal Museum and Library. Just to add, परसों ही मैम इंटेक के अंदर भी एडवाइजरी मेंबर, सबने डेली एक्सेलशियर में भी और सभी न्यूज़पेपर में पढ़ा, मैटर ऑफ प्राइड फॉर अस। एंड मैम, हाउ मच पीपल लव यू एंड दे रिस्पेक्ट यू। सभी न्यूज़पेपर्स में व्हेन वी ओपनड इट एंड वी हैव सीन योर न्यूज़, इट रियली मेक ऑल डोगरास प्राइड. We watch every achievement of you, ma'am, and whenever there is a Dara Shikoh Festival or Tawi Festival, we all cherish and we all look forward for all those things. Ma'am's life has been an extraordinary journey dedicated to dialogue, inclusivity, and revival of rich artistic traditions. Her landmark initiative, from presenting a paper on syncretic traditions at global platform to curating groundbreaking exhibitions, showcase her deep commitment to India's pluralistic spirit. The annual Tawi Festival, founded under her leadership, stands as a magnificent confluence of art, music, and literature, celebrating the cultural tapestry of Jammu, Kashmir, and Ladakh, and bringing regional voices to the national stage. And ma'am is an accomplished Odissi dancer, animal and pottery artist, and tireless advocate for interfaith dialogue and peace, which is very, very important in current scenario when we are seeing everywhere there is a lot of disturbances worldwide. Why J&K, why India? Worldwide. Ma'am's story is an inspiring tapestry woven from intellect, artistry, and compassion. Today, ma'am, we will explore your remarkable journey. एक डोगरा हैं आप, हमारे लिए एक आप हेरिटेज का पार्ट है, और आपकी स्टोरी जो है दैट इज गोइंग टू बी मोटिवेशन फॉर एवरीवन इन जम्मू, बिकॉज आपके साथ मैम जुड़े हैं आपके एक रिच पास्ट एंड रिच हिस्ट्री विच इंक्लूड आर रेवर डॉक्टर करण सिंह, जिन्होंने सर ने इतने फिलोसफिकल चीजें लिखी हैं विच इज वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू इमेजिन कि कोई एक राजा महाराजा he can be so philosophical, saint and a scholar. And similarly our Maharaja Hari Singh ji, जो आपके grandfather थे. So all are part of our Dogra history and heritage. And I think, ma'am, we all on Twitter, we all are on Facebook. कोई दिन ऐसा नहीं जाता जिसमें कोई ना कोई फैमिली के ऊपर, महाराजा साहब पे एंड डॉक्टर करण सिंह के ऊपर, आपके ऊपर समवन आपको याद नहीं करता हो. ये एक आप डोगरा आइकन है, और हमारे लिए आज दिस इज अ ग्रेट मोमेंट फॉर अस फॉर तवी टेल्स. Dr. Vikas will join in 10 minutes, and meanwhile we thought we will introduce and start it because he's a orthopedic surgeon and he is stuck and he's going to join. तो मैम हम स्टार्ट करते हैं फ्रॉम द बिगनिंग इटसेल्फ. मैम, आप अपने बचपन की कुछ यादें एंड आपकी एजुकेशनल जर्नी, what experience shaped your love for philosophy and the art?
First of all, thank you so much, Ajay ji, for considering me and inviting me to Tawi Talks. It's an honor for me. Thank you, and for giving me this opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about how I've come to this point and how I appreciate Dogra culture even more and more as I go forward. मेरा जन्म बॉम्बे में हुआ था एक्चुअली, क्योंकि उस वक्त शायद डॉक्टर्स वहीं पे होते थे। जो मैं कुछ 7 साल बाद हुई थी मेरे पेरेंट्स की शादी में, इससे के बाद। और मेरी मदर बहुत कम उम्र की थी जब वो आई, नेपाल से आई थी मेरी मदर। So I have this kind of, I was born with a confluence of cultures actually. My mother brought some Nepal with her, something of Nepal, and of course Jammu and Kashmir were there as well. So I grew up in a uh, very interesting kind of cultural confluence. And my mother was quite a strong lady, although she was very young when she got married. She had her own opinion, so I could see that women had their own viewpoint. The women were not just going to agree to everything that their husband said or whatever. So she had her own viewpoints, and she was a very open-minded lady. And many of her friends were Muslim ladies in Kashmir while I was growing up. So never I did not grow up. मुझे कभी ऐसा नहीं लगता था कि हिंदू मुसलमान में कोई भेद या अंतर होना चाहिए, किसी तरह का भी फर्क नहीं लगता था मुझे। मेरी अर्ली एजुकेशन तो प्रेजेंटेशन कॉन्वेंट में ही हुई, और बिकॉज द गवर्नमेंट यूज्ड टू मी go from Kashmir to Jammu, it used to the entire government machinery used to move. तो विंटर में मैं जम्मू में पढ़ा करती थी प्रेजेंटेशन कॉन्वेंट में, और समर में मैं कश्मीर में पढ़ा करती थी। तो कई ऐसे बच्चे हैं जो मुझे अब मिलते हैं, जो मेरी उम्र के हैं, हम उम्र के, वो मुझे बताते हैं कि हम ऐसे ऐसे आपको देखते थे गाड़ी में आते हो। मेरी मेमोरीज उस वक्त की बहुत प्लेजेंट हैं, लेकिन इतनी शार्प नहीं है, क्योंकि मैं 6 महीने हैं, 6 महीने वहां, कुछ ऐसा ऐसा माहौल था। I think because my father was in public life, my mother decided that I would get spoiled if I did further education in Kashmir and Jammu, because they would obviously, I mean, defer to the fact that my father was at that time governor. He, of course, subsequently they moved to Delhi, but at that time, in her wisdom, she decided that I should go to Lawrence School, Sanaur. सनावर शिमला हिल्स में है। और वहां पे तो मुझे इतना शॉक हुआ, क्योंकि मैं डायरेक्टली एक पैलेस से एक आर्मी स्कूल टाइप में पहुंच गई, और ना तो मुझे ठीक से अपने फीते बांधना आते थे, ना मैं टाइम से खाना खत्म कर पाती थी डाइनिंग रूम में। But looking back on the experience I had of meeting people from every background, आर्मी के भी बच्चे थे, फार्मर्स के बच्चे थे उसमें, और एक वेस्टर्न एजुकेशन तो था, लेकिन वो बहुत मतलब हाई रैंकिंग का उस टाइप के लोग नहीं थे वहां पे। इट वाज नॉट अ वेरी हाई अप काइंड ऑफ स्कूल, सो देयर वर ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ किड्स, जाट लड़के थे। इट वाज अ को एजुकेशन स्कूल, बाय द वे।
Right.
So it was really an experience. I mean, I can use a half a bucket of water and have a full bath in that. I can walk anywhere in the hills if you like. It was an amazing experience. So God bless my mother really for having thought of that. So I finished my school education from Sanar. Padre.
No, that's really really great मैम। एंड आपने बताया मैम कि जैसे आप सनार के एंड उससे पहले यू वर स्टडिंग इन प्रेजेंटेशन कॉन्वेंट। मैम, कुछ आपको यादें महाराजा की, एनी मतलब उस टाइम पे यू कैन रिकॉल हाउ महाराजा यूज टू कॉल यू एंड हाउ ही यूज टू स्पीक विद यू, कुछ उस तरीके की यादें भी मैम बचपन की?
बहुत थोड़ी याद है, क्योंकि by then he was in Bombay. So when we used to go to visit him, my parents would take me there. I remember a very long room with this very imposing person sitting at the end, and he was very fond of me. So he was, he would put me on his lap, and I would be sitting there, and everyone was very, very, you know, they were quite deferential to him. Very imposing person, and the main image I have of my grandfather, Maharaja Hari Singh ji, is from my mother. Because what he did was he he just was so fond of her. He helped her to change her entire style. He would advise her on everything she would wear. He would tell her to do these parties the way he would have done them in the past. So he kind of almost adopted her as his own child, because my father and he, as you know, had drifted a little bit apart because he had to go to Bombay and my father remained in Kashmir. But my mother was so fond of him. All the memories, all the sort of memories that she had of him, she shared with me. She was very, very fond of him and thought he was a very fine person.
Must be, ma'am. And he is such a revered personality for all of us in Jammu. And we all grew when we heard stories about Maharaja Saab. Even though Major General Govardhan Singh, sir, we have covered him in one of the episodes. So wherever you go, ma'am, everyone in the family, Maharaja Saab, Dr. Karan Singh, you, people really, really love to hear you, love to talk about you. And I think that is the best thing which anyone can think of after so many years post independence. Still,
Mhm.
people love all of you, ma'am. And that is coming
That's
from
very
itself. Well, Dr. Vikas is also here. So, Dr. Vikas, after a tough day, he's a very, very famous orthopedic surgeon. And today, I know how much difficult for him to, rush between the operation theater. But he said
Yes.
25th episode with ma'am is going to be a lifetime. So he has just finished off his work and joined back. And Dr. Vikas, I have welcomed ma'am on your behalf also. And due to the paucity of time, we will just enter into asking ma'am few of the things which you want to listen, I want to listen, and viewers also want to listen. Ma'am, you're,
No,
yeah.
Namaskar,
Thank
ma'am,
you.
and sorry for the delay. I
No
am
problem
part
at
of
all.
essential services, and this is part and parcel of our life. Thank you
Right.
so much. Thank you so much for gracing our platform of Tawi Tales with on this 25th episode. We are
Thank you.
fortunate enough to have you on
Thank
this
you. Very kind of you.
occasion.
Ma'am, your academic foundation in philosophy is profound. How did this discipline shape your worldview and guide you many cultural and social initiatives? Because you are towards a lot of social initiatives and cultural activities. So first, ma'am, how philosophy you chose as a subject, as a stream, and how it has shaped you.
So, Ajay, you can imagine that I grew up with books around me. In fact, I'm not sitting in my the place where I have books. I should really have been sitting there like you all are. But yes, my father had all these books around him, and they were always very interesting, different. Of course, he himself is interested in the Upanishads and Sanskrit and so on. Quite amazing because no one taught him. He is a self-taught man in Sanskrit. But for me, growing up, just after I came out of Sanar, I came to Delhi and I intended to be an artist. Actually, I was going to join the Delhi College of Art. But
Right.
in those days, the College of Art was on strike. And I couldn't think of anything that I would really want to do. So I said, chaliye, philosophy ka maine, I kind of grew up around these books. I said, let me just try this. It was purely by chance almost. I mean, as they say, nothing is by chance. But so I joined philosophy at Lady Shriram College. And we had some very good teachers, excellent teachers. So I got really involved in this kind of dialogue. So they still remember our batch because for some reason we were a batch of girls who were very interested in exploring ideas and talking to the teachers. And so so that was my beginning of my journey in philosophy. I didn't think I would be so involved. I did my BA, I continued to do my MA, I did my MPhil, and I finally did a PhD in philosophy. So it just, but each time, it was a slightly different area of philosophy. And so I kind of covered a few things which had interested me. And in a sense, it kind of made me realize that the world of ideas is so powerful that you can actually, make huge changes if you have the right ideas and if you have the right open mindedness. That was something I think I learned through this. exposure to ideas. That, be open-minded. It doesn't matter how another person may think. You must respect the way they think. You don't have to impose your views on everybody. I think this was a very important lesson for me while studying.
Ma'am, very, very interesting. We all, hear Dr. Karan Singh ji, जब भी वो spiritual and philosophical discourses during, meetings or seminars, जब सर बोलना शुरू करते हैं तो the similar way, the ma'am which you have put forward your thoughts, so it's resonating quite well. So 2 मिनट के लिए आपको भी सुनने से लिए पूरा just like a meditation, पूरी concentration खाली आपकी वॉइस पे आ जाती है. सिमिलरली ऑन डॉक्टर करण सिंह जी. तो मैम, घर में इतने बड़े फिलोसफिकल व्यक्ति और स्पिरिचुअल पर्सनैलिटी घर में होना, और आप फिलोसफी में यू आर डूइंग योर एमफिल, योर पीएचडी, तो हाउ वाज द डिस्कशन बिटवीन यू एंड डॉक्टर साहब? बिकॉज दैट वुड बी वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, विच आई कैन विजुअलाइज. तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग डिस्कशन होती होगी.
Anji, I think he was a little disappointed that I didn't go into Indian philosophy in a big way, because that was his area of interest. I went for kind of Western philosophy, but also religious, spiritual philosophy. So that was in common. But I think in those days, the great thing was existentialism, but at the same time, I was interested in spirituality. So I tried to combine that in my PhD thesis. So I worked on a Danish philosopher. I spoke to my father about it. I think he was secretly quite proud of me, actually, that I was pursuing this line of study. So it was interesting, but his area of interest is definitely the Upanishads and the Gita and Indian philosophy. So, and I did imbibe that basically, but I didn't work on it academically.
Right, ma'am. Dr. Vikas.
Jyotsna ma'am, the Dara Shikoh Centre has become a beacon of inclusivity and artistic expression. We want to know what inspired its creation and how do you feel that it has impacted communities, especially the youth?
डॉक्टर साहब, ऐसा था कि मैं वापस कश्मीर गई, after the whole situation settled down, and I decided to go back and see what I could do in terms of trying to get people from different communities, women from different communities. I was in touch with a wonderful woman called Shushobha Barve, who is director of the Center for, I think, dialogue and one of these things from, I think it was Mr. Rajmohan Gandhi's organization. Okay. So she used to go very often to Kashmir and try and get to the grassroots and try and get to people who were at that time, quite polarized. And Kashmiri Pandits had left and all of that had happened. But we were going back to see if we could start speaking again among us. So at that time, I had a home there. And we opened up this place which had been locked up for many years. And we had this group of women coming from Punch. They came from Jammu. The Kashmiri Pandit women who had left came back to the valley. They were their own classmates in the valley who had been there and could not stop that their leaving, but they were very, very keen to restart dialogue and, so it was an amazing, experience to have all these women. We were sitting on the ground very simply on cushions and, all of us in a circle, and women cried, and there was a lot of hugging and holding and this great desire that, let's break through this and maybe women can make a difference. Maybe women can start talking to their children. Maybe women can start opening up to each other, where men could not do it or something. तो उस तरह से शुरू हुआ ये जर्नी एक तरह से. तो हमने एक दारा शिको इसलिए रखा क्योंकि ऑपोजिट माय हाउस यूज्ड टू बी परी महल. वो दारा शिको का लाइब्रेरी माना गया था बाद में. After it was a Buddhist vihara, I believe, but later on Dara Shikoh, the Mughal prince, Aurangzeb's brother, who was this great mystic as well as a rasik, he used to have his library there. So we just thought, let's call it Dara Shikoh because it expressed the inclusivity that we wanted. It expressed the openness, the love, we wanted to explore all kinds of ideas of how cultures come together to produce these wonderful architecture, music, art, thoughts, ideas. So इसलिए हमने दारा शिको सेंटर के नाम से उसको खोला था. Today, the Dara Shikoh Centre remains as a kind of, it's not a physical place anymore, but it is through which, it's an organization through which we have made some films, including a film on Dr. Karan Singh Ji called Pilgrim Soul, which we have showed to a limited audience. But I started making films on artists, people who taught me. I learned ceramic art, so unke upar maine banaya. And so on. So it changed a little bit over time because I left Kashmir. And then we started, inspired with that, we started the Tawi Festival in Jammu.
Very nice.
Ma'am, it's in most of the episodes, ma'am, we see Dogras are very, very humble. वो डोगरा जब आर्मी भी रहती थी, आई हैव यूज्ड दिस पर्टिकुलर वन क्वाइट अ लॉट टाइम. डोगरा आर्मी जो रहती थी वो बहुत ही सिंपल रहती थी. जितने भी ब्रिटिश भी रहते थे जिनके पास वो काम करते थे, दे ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू से कि ये सबसे सिंपल कम्युनिटी है और ना कोई ईगो है, ना कोई इनमें वो है. शाम को इन्होंने बस लड़ाई में पूरे मुस्तैद हैं और शाम को इन लोगों ने खाना अच्छे से खाना है, बिकॉज खाने का उनको बहुत शौक रहता था. एंड सेकेंडली दे नीड टू हैव समथिंग, इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स जिसको बजा के नाच गा के, देन दे यूज्ड टू स्लीप. मैम, जितनी भी एपिसोड्स हुई अभी तक, 24 एपिसोड एंड टुडेज 25th, मैम ये प्रूव हो गया है कि डोगरास बहुत हम्बल हैं. एंड नाउ व्हाइल आई वाज लिसनिंग टू यू, अब ये समझ आया है कि ये आया कहाँ से. मैम, दिस ऑल कहते हैं ना, जैसा राजा वैसी प्रजा. आई थिंक द वे मैम यू सैट विद एवरी वुमेन फ्रॉम डिफरेंट पार्ट, डिफरेंट डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स, आपने उनके जो प्रॉब्लम्स थी, यू ट्राई टू सॉल्व इट. उनकी कल्चरल आइडेंटिटी, बिकॉज इट्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट मैम, बिकॉज अगर एम्पावर्ड वुमेन है, ओनली देन द सोसाइटी विल बी क्वाइट स्ट्रांग. और हमने लकीली डोगरा वुमेन ऑलवेज वर एट द फोरफ्रंट. अगर आप मैम पहले से भी देखते हैं तो डोगरा वुमेन ऐसी नहीं है कि वो हमेशा पर्दे के पीछे रही हैं. उन्होंने आगे मिलकर पूरी जम्मू रियासत को आगे बढ़ाने में हेल्प किया है. और आज यह समझ आया मैम कि कहाँ से सब कुछ शुरू हुआ. एंड थैंक्स मैम फॉर inculcating this in those women. And today the young women who will listen to you through this podcast, they will also learn कि humble रह के किस तरीके से डोगरा community can excel more and they can contribute. Ma'am, next is about your interfaith dialogue. You have dedicated yourself building bridges across communities. Ma'am, इसमें मेरे को एक हमेशा से एक चीज याद आती है. when there was a coronation of our revered Maharaja Hari Singh Ji, he proclaimed at that time, my religion is justice. उन्होंने ये नहीं कहा कि मैं डोगरा हूं, मैं हिंदू महाराजा हूं. he said my religion is justice, and it was very very clear, 4 words which really make a lot of impact. Has this powerful declaration influenced your thinking and approach towards inclusivity and dialogue, ma'am?
It's a very good question, but more than, of course, my grandfather, I think this was a very important statement that he made, because the majority of his subjects were Muslims, and of course, a big Sikh community, and of course, the Hindus. But I think it was my father who is a practicing Hindu. So he is a practicing Hindu. He goes to temples. He is unashamedly open in his devotion, and he is very fond of devotional music and so on. He met a wonderful woman called Judith Hollister in New York in the 60s, and she had something called the Temple of Understanding, which was an interfaith organization. And she was very impressed by his dynamism and his interest. So what she did was she asked him to become part of the Temple of Understanding. So he brought the idea of the Temple of Understanding, an interfaith organization specifically dedicated to conversations between faiths, between leaders of different faiths, between communities. He brought it to India, and today we have the Temple of Understanding India Foundation, of which I am a trustee. This organization also works with different leaders of communities to find similarities in different religions, in different, for instance, the idea of prayer. It's there in every faith, of course. The idea of a higher power is there in every faith. The idea of compassion for weaker beings, that's there in every faith. So instead of looking at the differences, which should be celebrated, which should be practiced by people of different faiths, nobody is imposing anyone's faith on anyone else. But how do we come together to celebrate this diversity and to respect other people's way of thinking? And how do we do it practically? So we have tied up with Manav Rachna University in Delhi, where we are going to be doing workshops with children. We have a Muslim gentleman in our organization. We have a Parsi lady. We have somebody from the Baha'i community, and myself and my father. My interest is really to see how culturally we are connected. So if you look at any architecture in Delhi, you will see that it is influenced by the Mughals or by even older, civilizations. If you look at music anywhere, the Drupad, the Dadra, the Kavali, all of these ways of expressing devotion are influenced by each other. So if we can celebrate that rather than be afraid of each other or shy away from each other, I think that would be a great thing for the younger generation. They don't have to take positions. They don't have to say militantly, "नहीं कि मैं ये हूँ या मैं ये हूँ." They should just be able to enjoy it. I mean, so much of what we have is cross-cultural.
Beautiful thought, ma'am. It's actually temple of understanding is itself a beautiful word, which talks about amalgamation of different thoughts and how to make them synchronize with your way of thinking. Because भगवान को सभी देखते तो एक ही तरीके से हैं, but possibly प्रे करने के तरीके with the passage of time और distances वो थोड़े अलग हैं. बहुत ही अच्छा thought है मैम, and I think the way you are percolating this thought to the younger generation वो सबसे important है, because they should come out as individual entities. जिनका ideally I personally feel they should come out as an individual with their own thoughts instead of getting colored with someone else's thought. No, very good thought, ma'am. Very, very good thought. Dr. Vikas.
ज्योत्सना मैम, अभी आपने जिक्र किया द तवी फेस्टिवल का, तो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट इट इन डिटेल. एंड आई वुड लाइक टू टेल यू एंड हमारे दर्शकों को मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि लास्ट 2 सालों से आई हैव बीन लकी एनफ टू अटेंड तवी फेस्टिवल माई सेल्फ पर्सनली. मुझे लकीली टाइम मिला शेड्यूल से वो अटेंड, और वहां मैंने आपको पर्सनली मैम इतना इन्वॉल्व होते देखा है, दो आई कुडंट टॉक टू यू पर्सनली, लेकिन आई वॉच्ड यू टेकिंग इंटरेस्ट इन एवरी पॉसिबल एक्टिविटी. और तवी फेस्टिवल हैज emerged as an iconic celebration of regional art and Dogra cultural pride. So ma'am, could you tell us about its vision? ये कहाँ से इंस्पायर हुआ, और कुछ ऐसी मूवमेंट्स तवी फेस्टिवल की जो आपके दिल के करीब हों, जो आप हमारे दर्शकों से शेयर करना चाहती हो?
हाँ जी डॉक्टर साहब. सो जी, ये आइडिया तो इसलिए आया कि हमने we have attended festivals all over. There's a Jaipur Literary Festival. There are other festivals. Amazing. They have really taken off and showcased. But my idea was that we should actually be able to have a lot of local involvement. तो जैसे अगर वेन्यू ही नहीं है, नहीं तो अगर आप किसी और फेस्टिवल में देखते हैं, they use it as a venue and mostly it's people from outside, maybe some local involvement. But here I thought at least there should be a great local involvement, and for that we have formed a group. तो इस ग्रुप में जो है ना, इनके बगैर मैं अकेले बिल्कुल ही नहीं कर सकती थी. इसमें बहुत अच्छे आपके डोगरा बड़े अच्छे लोग हैं. ललित गुप्ता जी हैं, ललित मगोत्रा जी हैं, और आपके आर्टिस्ट भी जो बहुत excellent artists are involved in this. And we have also tried to involve people from the universities, so it's a group effort, to be very honest. And also it's been supported by the trustees of Amar Mahal Museum and Library, Haritara Charitable Trust. इनके बगैर ये नहीं हो सकता था. तो आप कहें कि मैं ही अकेले कर रही हूँ, ये नहीं था, लेकिन it is a labor of love. because we have found such wonderful alumni. जम्मू यूनिवर्सिटी के इम्फा इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ म्यूजिक एंड फाइन आर्ट्स के जो लोग बाहर जाकर के उन्होंने अपना नाम कमाया है. कोई एनआईडी अहमदाबाद में है, प्रीमियर इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ आर्ट एंड सो ऑन. Some artists have, one of the artists has also reached China and she teaches there. So there are many people who have gone out of Jammu, accomplished wonderful things, musicians for instance also, you know. So हमने सोचा कि हम उनको शोकेस करते हैं और वापस एक तरह से यूथ और जो जिन लोगों ने अचीवमेंट्स किए हैं उनको जोड़ते हैं साथ में. इन एडिशन टू दैट वी आल्सो थॉट वी कॉल एक्सपर्ट्स फ्रॉम आउटसाइड. तो जो हेरिटेज एक्सपर्ट्स हैं, फॉर इंस्टेंस हमारा फोकस हेरिटेज पे है, एंड हेरिटेज मीन्स बिल्ट हेरिटेज, म्यूजिक, fine arts, all that, Basoli paintings, etc. And it is also on literature and the arts. So I think we tried to make a combination. और फिर एक दिन हम मेला करते हैं वहाँ पे. तो मेले में हम लोग ने बहुत हेल्प हमें मिली है फ्रॉम कल्चरल एकेडमी, जहाँ पे बाहर से जगह जगह से लोग ट्रूप्स आती हैं और वहाँ पे परफॉर्म करते हैं ये लोग दूर दराज एरिया से. So we have found a kind of nice combination of things. So something for everybody actually. And one day of a very good seminar, talks and so on a particular subject. So इस तरह से हमने इसको organize किया है. Excuse me.
Ma'am, you work with the Amar, Mahal Museum and Library. And
हाँ जी.
to be honest, you have given a new lease of life. क्योंकि अब जो भी जम्मू के बाहर से आता है ना मैम, द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन दे आस्क, पहले तो मैम आते ही सबसे पहले वैष्णो देवी तो जाना ही रहता था. देन दे यूज्ड टू आस्क अस कहाँ जाएं, एंड रघुनाथ मंदिर यूज्ड टू बी द नंबर 1 इन द विजिटिंग लिस्ट. नाउ पीपल स्टार्टेड आस्किंग अबाउट कि अमर महल पैलेस कहाँ पे है, बिकॉज नाउ ड्यू टू द प्रमोशन ऑफ तवी फेस्टिवल और ड्यू टू अमर महल को एक काफी चीजें वहां पे चाहे पेंटिंग्स हो, चाहे वहां पे डोगरा आर्ट को दिखाना हो, काफी चीजें वहां पे डिस्प्ले पे हैं. एंड इट मस्ट हैव बीन अ वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट जर्नी फॉर यू मैम. सो क्या चैलेंजेस रहे मैम, और जब चैलेंजेस को ओवरकम कर लिया, सो व्हाट आर द मीनिंगफुल माइंड रिवॉर्ड्स which you are getting out of this, which is a satisfaction out of this particular venture?
जो भी नहीं गया है अभी तक अमर महल म्यूजियम और लाइब्रेरी, प्लीज विजिट, because it is a treasure trove. It's a small museum. It isn't like those great big museums of Rajasthan that you see, with these huge amounts of artifacts. We have a selected number of artifacts. One of the main things is, first of all, the fact that the building itself was dedicated in 1975 by my parents to the people of Jammu. It became a museum in 1975. So 50 years ago, they decided, because this is where my grandmother, Maharani Tara Devi, used to live. I remember as a child, मैं उत्थे जाती होती ही, ते उत्थे it used to be an atmosphere of so much joy, because she was a village lady. She brought all the village, music, achar pana उत्थे बाहर रखना. She used to bring, there were all these people she had married off. They used to bring their little children there. बड़ी रौनक होती थी उत्थे. So I remember it as a child, as a magical space, as a very beautiful place, and very, very vibrant. Then for some years after her passing away, it just was, silent, and there was nothing. So I think my father decided, first of all, to keep her quarters the same, so you could see the Maharani's room and the awards that she had received and so on, and that room remained. And he had received these beautiful paintings, Pahadi paintings, 47 paintings in the late Kangra style, finest paintings on the Nal Damayanti theme, which is a very old Puranic story, but these beautiful paintings in which there is humor, there is tragedy, there is, it's the most beautiful, as if you were watching a story unfold on those walls. And now we have such good people there who will explain everything and show you, the details of how wonderful. So this set of paintings became the core collection. And we had these great sort of portraits of the Maharajas also. So in the Darbar room. This is what was there, my grandmother's room upstairs. But slowly we decided that we needed to enhance the museum. And one was given encouragement to do that. So if you go today, you will find, of course, there was the throne. The golden throne was loaned by the government, so it's there. And we first of all made a Maharaja Hari Singh room and dedicated that to him. Then we have a Dr. Karan Singh room. As you enter the museum, there is a interpretation center for Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, which no longer exists the way they did earlier. So all of what was before partition is explained, in it, so that anyone who needs to know about Jammu and Kashmir's history will get a very clear idea of that. So after that, we have this wonderful Darbar Hall. We have a contemporary art gallery. So my father is very fond of modern painting. वो भी हमारे पास बहुत अच्छी कलेक्शन है जो लोग आके दे के जाते थे पिताजी को. एक बहुत सुंदर इंदिरा डुग्गर करके एक actually he's a Bengali artist, so we have a whole collection of his work, watercolors. Again, wonderful watercolors of the Tawi Valley below and so on. When you go upstairs, you have the great Maharani's room, but you also have now a room dedicated to Maharani Yashoraja Lakshmi, Dr. Karan Singh Ji's wife, and Maharani Tara Devi. And how similar they were, how concerned they were about social issues. They weren't just Maharanis sitting separately, but they were very involved. And we brought out that we made it a women's Zanana kind of area. And then, of course, we have the great collection of rare books, which was Raja Amar Singh Ji's collection of rare books, about 12,000 rare books, and 35,000 books were collected by Dr. Karan Singh Ji. So it's a very rich museum and library, which is quite unique, you know. And in this day of digital things, of course, we are trying to digitize things. But it is a treasure trove for scholars also to go and work in the library there.
No, ma'am, you have touched a very, very important one about the scholars. Myself and Dr. Vikas keep on, talking about the research work in, especially for the, Dogra youth. क्योंकि मैम रीजन क्या है कि नैरेटिव सेट करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बिकॉज हमारी मैक्सिमम हिस्ट्री बिफोर महाराजा गुलाब सिंह जनरली इज नॉट वेरी वेरी स्ट्रक्चर्ड. महाराजा रंजीत देव के टाइम की भी थोड़ी स्ट्रक्चर्ड है बट नॉट वेरी वेरी स्ट्रक्चर्ड. इतनी बुक्स हैं, इतनी बड़ी रिपोजिटरी है, एंड इफ इट्स अलाउड आई रिक्वेस्ट द रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स फ्रॉम जम्मू यूनिवर्सिटी हिस्ट्री दे कैन गो ओवर स्पेंड सम टाइम एंड स्टार्ट राइटिंग द राइट हिस्ट्री सो दैट नरेटिव एक बार सेट अगर गलत हो जाए, बिकॉज वी आर इन द एरा ऑफ सोशल मीडिया मैम. अगर आप 1000 बार रील में एक्स चीज देख लेंगे तो वही चीज टॉप ऑफ माइंड में आ जाएगी कि यही सच है. While it's a collective responsibility of everyone that they should do research and put forward the right and actual narrative. तो मैम ये बहुत बढ़िया है. लाइब्रेरी मैं काफी देर से मैम गया नहीं वहां पे, बट आई श्योरली ट्राई टू गो लेट्स से इन फ्यू डेज. मेरी फेवरेट पेंटिंग मैम काफी सालों में जब आई यूज्ड टू स्टडी इन माय स्कूल एंड वी यूज्ड टू गो देयर इज अ पेंटिंग ऑफ कल्की. आई एम नॉट श्योर वेदर इट्स देयर और नॉट. वो मेरी फेवरेट थी एंड आई यूज्ड टू गो एंड वॉच दैट पेंटिंग फॉर क्वाइट अ लॉन्ग ड्यूरेशन, जब तक कि मैं बाहर जाने के लिए नहीं कह जाते थे. बट दैट पेंटिंग स्टिल इट्स इन माय माइंड. आई एम नॉट श्योर व्हाई, बट surely I'll go again and see that.
That's wonderful. It is Sardar Sobha Singh's painting.
Ji.
And he has painted, of course, all the Sikh gurus, but he's also painted Durga. He's painted Kalki. He's painted, of course, Soni Mahiwal. So we have one copy of the Soni Mahiwal, famous Soni Mahiwal painting, which is up in the Contemporary Art Gallery. And these are beautiful work, really, really wonderful work. We have a corner dedicated to Sardar Sobha Singh.
Right.
ज्योत्सना मैम, थोड़ा सा एक पर्सनल क्वेश्चन हो जाएगा ये. एज वी ऑल नो, यू आर डॉटर ऑफ महाराजा डॉक्टर करण सिंह, जो कि खुद एक ग्लोबली डिस्टिंग्विश्ड ऑथर हैं, फिलोसोफर एंड स्टेट्समैन हैं. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि व्हाट डू यू फील, व्हाट कोर वैल्यूज डू यू फील यू हैव इनहेरिटेड फ्रॉम हिम? Which of his qualities have most deeply shaped your journey, and what aspects make you feel most proud to carry forward his legacy?
It's very hard to carry forward his legacy, Dr. Saab. But I can tell you that ever since I was a child, very small child, he was a very busy man. He was in public life. But every evening, whenever he could, he would come and sing songs, English, Dogri, Hindi songs to me before I went to sleep. It was a very loving thing, and I never, of course, it's such a beautiful thing for a child to remember this. And he had a very beautiful voice, and he always sang. One of the things about him is that he is very disciplined. So he will do his music riyaz even today at 94. Once a week, somebody comes with the tabla and the harmonium, and he does riyaz. He has, it's clockwork precision. He gets up at a certain time, eats at a certain time, eats only a certain amount. I mean, it's an amazing thing to see the discipline he has. He's also very compassionate. He's very good to his staff. In fact, people would say he's overly generous, perhaps. I don't know, but I really appreciate that because it's something that he says his mother taught him. That you must always be kind to people who are less, fortunate than yourself. Of course, his intellect is amazing. Even today, he can rattle off a poem, a long poem by Sri Aurobindo or something. Something I could never do. He has taught himself Sanskrit when he was younger, and so I think his scholarship is amazing. He has a great grasp of ideas. I think all that has impacted me very much. And if in any small way, slightly differently, because I have a more kind of grassroots kind of exposure, I think, whereas he's more intellectual, and also spirituality. I think the fact that he has great faith in a higher power has been part of my life, right from the very beginning. And I think that has been one of the core things that I would take from his life.
बिल्कुल मैम, उनकी आवाज तो अभी जो 50th ईयर सेलिब्रेशन था अमर महल पैलेस का, आई वाज देयर, तो उन्होंने
हाँ जी,
भगवान शिव का इतना सुंदर भजन सुनाया एंड
हाँ
वी
जी,
ऑल वर मेस्मराइज्ड मैम, वेरी ब्यूटीफुल। और अब इस एज में भी ही इज डूइंग रियाज, तो दैट्स समथिंग इनक्रेडिबल एंड ग्रेट अबाउट
really.
सर। थैंक यू मैम फॉर शेयरिंग दिस।
Ma'am, you have brought together diverse artists and scholars from Jammu, Kashmir, and Ladakh. तीनों different regions हैं, and I think इन तीनों regions की मैम voice को इकट्ठे करना और उसको यूनिफाई करके एक नैरेटिव सेट करना एक बहुत मुश्किल काम है। मैम, हाउ आपने किस तरीके से इस काम को इतने बढ़िया तरीके से किया that there is no noise but there is a synchronized sweet melodious narrative? अदरवाइज मैम, हमारे यहाँ पे तीनों रीजन जब इकट्ठे मिलते हैं खाली नॉइस होती है कई बार, बट यू मैनेज्ड इट वेल। तो उसके पीछे राज क्या है मैम?
I think it's really meeting people and getting to know them. I think unless you meet, हमने यहाँ से ना, हमारा दारा शिकोह फेस्टिवल होता था, वो छोटा सा फेस्टिवल था, थोड़ी सी सपोर्ट मिलती थी जेके बैग से या कहीं से और समथिंग वी पुट टुगेदर। यहाँ से बच्चे गए थिएटर से, जम्मू यूनिवर्सिटी से एक थिएटर ग्रुप था, वो वहां पहुंचे तो वहां पे उन्होंने कश्मीरी बच्चों से बात की, मिले। उनको लगता था कि हर लड़की हिजाब में होगी, बिल्कुल नहीं बात करेगी। No, these girls, I mean, these kids from Kashmir were also extremely, curious and very motivated. And Ladakh के artists बहुत अच्छे हैं. Some young artists from Ladakh were there. So it was a kind of coming together of, you see, once you start to talk to people, this doesn't happen by just, maybe in a formal situation. But once you start to talk, you realize girls and boys have the same interests. You don't have to make these distinctions. Everyone's interested. अरे ऐसे होता है, ये stereotypes break होने लग जाती हैं. So that was my main takeaway from the Dara Shikoh Festival, to be very honest. It was such a beautiful thing. Even today, I'm in touch with some of those people, some of the alumni. And then we did we did something like a wonderful fellowship program. तो हम उनके दिल्ली में ले आते थे कुछ लोगों को, फिर यूनिवर्सिटी वालों से मिलवाते थे. They would go back and write papers on it. Or kids from Jammu would go to Ladakh. So I think this kind of coming together, not in very large numbers, but even a few people, I think, has a lasting impact on the minds of young people.
ट्रू मैम। और जैसे कि दारा शिको फेस्टिवल के, आई वाज जस्ट लुकिंग एट द वेबसाइट आल्सो अबाउट दारा शिको स्कॉलरशिप्स व्हिच यू प्रोवाइड, एंड एक फोटोग्राफ बहुत अच्छी लगी मैम उसमें, कि जम्मू और कश्मीर और लद्दाख के बच्चे दे आर वर्किंग ऑन पेपर मैशी, दे वर पेंटिंग
हाँ,
पेपर मैशी एंड दे आर पुटिंग देयर थॉट्स ऑन अ पेपर मैशी प्लेट्स। तो ये, और जब उन सब पेपर मैशी प्लेट्स को आई हैव सीन कि एक जगह लटका के रखा हुआ था, तो कहीं ये नहीं
हाँ
पता
जी,
चल रहा था मैम कि ये जम्मू से बनी है, कश्मीर से बनी है, लद्दाख ने। इट वाज गिविंग अ यूनिक टच ऑफ कंप्लीट यूनाइटेड जम्मू कश्मीर एंड लद्दाख which we used to be under महाराजा। so it was giving a glimpse of a togetherness। और आपने
yes.
बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से मैम, आई थिंक द एक्टिविटीज which are part of Dara Shikoh Festival as well as द तवी फेस्टिवल, दोनों चीजें बहुत ही बढ़िया तरीके से अमलगमेट की हैं इन लोकल कल्चर।
जी, हमने इस बार आउटरीच प्रोग्राम्स की। तो एक तो हमारा बसोली में जो हमारा हम अमर महल म्यूजियम और लाइब्रेरी के सपोर्ट देते हैं, एक सोहन बिलोरिया जी हैं जो सब जानते
जी
हैं। he has
जी
started a he has a atelier, he has a school there, he's teaching for young people, it's a 10-year project, 10 साल के लिए उनको सपोर्ट किया जाएगा। और वो आके उन्होंने स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ आर्ट को यहाँ पे अमर महल के जो दरबार हॉल था उसके बीच में बैठ के, उन कांगड़ा पेंटिंग्स के बीच में बैठ के इन्होंने वर्कशॉप की। एंड देर आर सच वंडरफुल आर्टिस्ट, दीज यंग आर्टिस्ट, एंड सम आर वेरी इंटरेस्टेड इन बसोली आर्ट। सो मे बी वी कैन गेट पीपल टू डू ट्रेडिशनल आर्ट इन देयर ओन वे, इन अ कंटेम्प्रेरी वे। ऐसे ही हमने एक पॉटरी वर्कशॉप में हमने कुछ हिमाचल से कुछ एक्सपर्ट्स लाए, और सुमन गुप्ता जी हैं आर्टिस्ट, आप जानते होंगे, उनकी वाइफ ज्योति जी हैं, वो एक पॉटरी वर्कशॉप रखती हैं। तो वहां पे हमने हिमाचली ये एक्सपर्ट्स को लाके, एंड ऑफ कोर्स शी वाज ऑलवेज डूइंग वेरी वेल, बट आई थिंक वी गिव सम गुड इनपुट्स देयर आल्सो। We had a wonderful exhibition of art at the cultural center. Is that the big center near the flyover?
कला
Uh,
निकेतन।
कला निकेतन में,
कला
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 निकेतन में
कला
100 आर्टिस्ट का शो, ललित गुप्ता जी ने ब्लड स्वेट एंड टीयर्स करके वो 100 आर्टिस्ट का शो वहां पे क्यूरेट किया। तो कई ऐसे आउटरीच प्रोग्राम्स, मे बी नेक्स्ट टाइम वी कैन डू अ वंडरफुल म्यूजिकल प्रोग्राम इन मुबारक मंडी, हु नोज, यू नो, वी कैन जस्ट कीप एक्सटेंडिंग आवर एफर्ट्स।
ट्रू मैम, ट्रू मैम।
मैम, आपको ये बताना चाहूंगा कि हम दोनों जो होस्ट हैं आज तवी टेल्स के, वी हैव ए बसोली कनेक्शन। आई बिलोंग टू
अच्छा,
बसोली और अजय खजूरिया जी का ननिहाल है बसोली में। तो
अच्छा।
तो वी बोथ आर क्लोजली एसोसिएटेड विद बसोली। So thank you for supporting this Basoli paintings and Basoli art from the behalf of the residents of Basoli.
That's
We
very
want to
kind. Thank
convey
you
your
so much.
gratitude.
But we had this
Ma-
wonderful artist, of course, Sohanji, and he was willing to teach. So you have to have somebody who's willing to teach, and you have to get students and support the students. नहीं तो वो कैसे बेचारे वो कर पाएंगे ऐसा आर्ट, अगर, क्योंकि ये तो लंबी जर्नी है। तो if we can in a small way help, and now that I am with Intact, perhaps we can do a little more than what we have been able to do so far.
Yes, ma'am. मैम, आपके एक पैशन की बात करते हैं अब, एक सेंट्रल पैशन की, योर क्लासिकल डांस, पर्टिकुलरली ओडिसी। तो मैम, आपका हाउ हैज डांस शेप्ड योर आर्टिस्टिक फिलोसफी एंड पर्सनल एवोल्यूशन?
डॉक्टर साहब, मैंने डांस तो बहुत पहले छोड़ दिया था, लेकिन मैंने स्कूल में सनार में हम लोग कई डांसेस सीखते थे, यू नो, बिकॉज इट वाज अ मल्टी कल्चरल थिंग। सो वी यूज्ड टू लर्न कथक, वी यूज्ड टू लर्न नागा डांस, वी लर्न, you know, all kinds of Manipuri dance we learned. But when I came to Delhi after I left school, I used to go to a beautiful place called Triveni Kala Sangam. उसमें कई चीजें होती थी उस बिल्डिंग में, एंड उसमें डांसेस थी अलग अलग, और आर्ट भी था और स्कल्पचर था, ऑल दिस। So I started learning Odissi dance from my Guruji, who who was from Odisha, and he was a wonderful storyteller also. So I learned from the age of actually around 16 to the age of about 32. So I learned, I never performed, but every day I would go for the dance lesson early in the morning before I went to teach or anything. And it was a beautiful thing because it, first of all, the expression of devotion, because all our Indian classical dances are devotional dances in some way, but how the body can be involved in the expression of devotion, how can the expressions, how can the music. So it's a whole culture. And Odisha is a very interesting, incidentally, my son-in-law is from Odisha. So it's strange coincidence that this happened, but I really enjoyed those 15 years, and I think it helps you later on also to keep quite fit, actually, also,
Right.
if you have done that dance in your youth.
मैम, थ्रू काउंटलेस सेमिनार्स, वर्कशॉप्स एंड फेस्टिवल्स, बहुत आपने सेमिनार्स भी, वी कीप ऑन रीडिंग, यू हैव mentored many young talent. What do you believe is most important when guiding the next generation of cultural leaders? बहुत important है मैम mentoring उनके लिए, because we are in that time जहाँ पे they can go either way. So what type of mentoring you think that you are doing, and what type of mentoring they require, especially the cultural leaders?
So I think if we can somehow form groups which work with young people. So I would not claim to be an expert in any particular cultural aspect, but if there's a whole lot of us, we can have dialogue, I feel. And when you start to talk to young people, we did this in Manav Rachna University, where they were asking very direct questions. The gentleman who was with us was a Muslim gentleman. He was very, very good at answering their questions and so on. I think what we need is dialogue. We should not be afraid to discuss things, you know. And I think dialogue is very distinct from tu meh meh. I mean, we should not get into this thing of, I'm better than you are, because there is no better and worse. But if we can somehow bring this together, culturally, we are the richest region in the world, I think. I mean, from north to south, from east to west, if we were to look at the music, the architecture, the textiles, tapestries, anything, drama, theater, any of these things, if we are able to, first of all, become more aware of what is available in our own region, but then also open up to people from other regions. So there has to be a healthy, you know, I think, interconnection of these things, where we understand how certain things came into being through cross-cultural influences.
True, ma'am. And that is required also because, ma'am, you are right. You go from Jammu to Kishtwar to Rajouri to Poonch, all the Dogra belt, but still there are a lot of, different languages. Even though you go to Samba कितनी देर तक तो मैम people used to call it कि ये छापे वाला चद्दरें बनती हैं यहाँ पे. We used to export it also. During Maharaja's time, this used to be one of the major exported to other states. एक revenue का part था. And I think with your efforts, ma'am, जो activities चल रही हैं, possibly there would be revival of old tradition, even though काफी लोग काम कर रहे हैं उस पे, and they are helping. जी, Dr. Vikas.
Jyotsna ma'am, looking back at your extraordinary journey across scholarship, art and community service, हम चाहेंगे कि डोगरा यूथ के लिए आप एक अच्छा मैसेज दें, द फ्यूचर कस्टोडियंस ऑफ दिस वाइब्रेंट हेरिटेज. आप क्या मैसेज देना चाहेंगी हमारे आज के डोगरा यूथ को?
तो डॉक्टर साहब, मैं तो यही कहूंगी कि अगर आप ओपन माइंडेड रह सकते हैं, अगर आप अपनी ही विरासत में इंटरेस्ट लें और वो रूटेडनेस को रखें, लेकिन उसी दायरे में न रहें, आप खोलें अपना दायरा, open your heart, open your mind to all the wonderful things that are available in terms of cultures of this country. So I think while we are, should be able to keep our language, keep our culture, keep our music, develop our music. अगर आप देखें जम्मू में म्यूजिक जो है, अब रिवाइवल सा आ रहा है डोगरी म्यूजिक का, पर अगर हिमाचल में अगर आप देखें डोगरा बेल्ट में, वहां पे बहुत ज्यादा है डोगरी म्यूजिक. यहाँ पे थोड़ा पंजाबी पे आ गया है जम्मू में. If you go towards Himachal, which is a region that's next to Jammu, there's a lot to be learned from other cultures as well. So I would say travel, see, read, talk, and be open minded.
बहुत ही सुंदर मैसेज मैम। और थोड़ा इसमें मैं ऐड करूंगा कि थोड़ा पढ़ने में हम कंजूस हैं। वी आर माइजर इन रीडिंग रीडिंग। तो हर एपिसोड में ऑलमोस्ट हर गेस्ट से हमारी इस पे बात हुई है कि हम पढ़ते कम हैं। तो आई थिंक आवर यूथ मस्ट लर्न दिस लेसन, गेट दिस मैसेज। आपने बहुत ही सुंदर मैसेज हमारे डोगरा यूथ के लिए दिया। थैंक यू सो मच मैम।
Thank you so much, Dr. Saab.
एंड मैम इंसिडेंटली मैं और डॉक्टर साहब हम दोनों गए थे पिछले दिनों एक डोगरी सॉन्ग मैम विच इज ए डोगरा एंथम रिलीज हुई, कुंवर वियोगी जी ने लिखा हुआ है, एंड जय डोगरा। एंड मैम दैट सॉन्ग जब आप सुनते हैं देन यू सी द ऑल विजुअल्स स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम महाराजा साहब टिल ब्रिगेडियर राजेंद्र सिंह जी, जनरल जोरावर सिंह। हमारे को एक फीलिंग ये आती है दैट वी बिलोंग टू दैट पर्टिकुलर क्लैन जिसने कहाँ तक जाके दे हैव कॉन्कर्ड द एरिया, एंड ऑल्सो नॉट कॉन्करिंग द एरिया बट स्टिल केप्ट द कल्चरल थिंग इंटैक्ट। कभी भी किसी जगह पे जाके ये नहीं बोला कि आपको जबरदस्ती इसी कल्चर को सीखना है, डोगरी ही पढ़नी है, डोगरी सीखनी है। एंड दैट वाज अ ग्रेटनेस व्हिच रियली मेड व्हाट डोगरास आर टुडे। And ma'am, song is very, very good. And I will forward to you if you have not listened to that.
I have got it. Yes, thank you.
Ma'am,
Yes, very nice.
we are keep on forwarding it, ma'am, because वो एक बहुत ही pride का moment है हम सबके लिए. The similar one, ma'am, talking with you, because first time ये हुआ है कि ma'am few things are uh, intangible, tangible. आपसे बात करना ऐसे लग रहा है we have touched the part of history which I am repeating again, but it's coming from the heart because getting very, very emotional to cover you today on 25th episode. So it's just feeling like that we are also part of the history of Dogras. And ma'am, you are the icon anyway, which we have just discussed. Ma'am, now we are ending towards our Tawi Tales this particular episode. Ma'am, आपके लिए next big project क्या है which you think that you have to do it by all means?
So, of course, we will have the Tawi Festival next year in March. We will do it in a way which is appropriate as for the time. Also, we have planned for a seminar which I had done here, which is really about the syncretic traditions of the subcontinent. And bringing so many young people, so many good people, scholars who, in their own areas, I mean, you can talk about Hyderabad, which is a very interesting place where so much has happened. You can talk about Kerala, you can talk about Ladakh, you can bring together these things and then have performances which express this as well. So, especially curated performances. I have with me a book by Fariduddin Attar called The Conference of the Birds. It's a most beautiful mystical Sufi work. इसका अगर ड्रामा हम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं तो it would be a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. In this book, it says of this journey of the birds who travel through many different valleys and all to look for this great master. And when they come to the end, they find that they have discovered themselves. So this is it. It's a discovery of self, really. All of this work, and hopefully it's of interest to others. And to me, it has been a most rich and wonderful journey.
It's true, ma'am. And J&K itself, it's a great place to stay, and because we belong to this place, we have stayed here, and we have seen everything as far as the culture is concerned. So you feel so proud. And a couple of days back, we were in Pancheri. So there you see the old temples, starting from Krimichi to Sankaradev temple. Every place, every stone talks about our rich culture and rich heritage. Ma'am, it was really, really great to speak with you, and you have spent time with us. We know it's very, very difficult for you to spare time for a podcast, but ma'am, it was indeed a great moment for us कि ये 25th एपिसोड आपके बिना शायद पूरी नहीं हो सकती थी। और ये जो इस एपिसोड में मैम आपने कितनी चीजें जो बताई हैं जो आई थिंक व्यूअर्स को दे इट विल रियली टेक देम टू मेमोरी लेन, बिकॉज एज आई सेड अर्लियर, क्योंकि जब मैम आप बोलते हैं तो वी गेट अ रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ डॉक्टर करण सिंह ऑल्सो, we get reflection of Maharaja Hari Singh Ji also. So you are continuing that legacy, and we all Dogras look upon you for many more Tawi festivals, many more Dara Shikoh festivals. और मैम उसके बजाय भी कई चीजें ऐसी हैं which we always look upon to you कि मैम आप हमें गाइड करेंगे how to go forward. और इंसिडेंटली हमारा जो प्लेटफॉर्म है इसका नाम भी मैम तवी टेल्स है because it's an ode to our river Tavi जो हमारी वो है.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
it's a lifeline for us, ma'am. मैम one very surprise for you. मैम आपकी जैसे मैंने बताया आपकी बहुत फैन फॉलोइंग है जम्मू में, एंड हमारे लिए बहुत डिफिकल्ट था कि किस फैन को वी शुड गिव वेटेज दैट दे शुड कम एंड स्पीक विद यू. बट मैम हमारे पास एक ऐसी फैन है जिस फैन को दिन रात यही लगता रहता है कि मैम क्या कर रही हैं और मैम का नेक्स्ट मूव क्या होगा. इंसिडेंटली मैम शी इज ऑल्सो योर कॉलेज सुपर जूनियर. हर नेम इज मनु खजूरिया. मस्ट हैव मेट हर. Manu Kajuria is a fan movement, so she's here to say hello to you and few words before we end our podcast. Welcome, Manu.
Thank you.
Thank you, भैया. Namaste, ma'am. It's such a immense pleasure. And incidentally, मुझे थोड़े दिन पहले ही पता चला कि आप LSR से हैं. I didn't know that. I was a fan irrespective of that. And as Ajay भैया said, एक तो आपका काम हम देख ही रहे हैं. आप रॉयल फैमिली से हैं तो वो जो हमारे लिए रिस्पेक्ट है एज अ डोगरा वो है ही. बट द वे यू बीन साइलेंटली वर्किंग ऑन आवर कल्चर हेरिटेज, मुझे लगता है आप एक आधार दे रही हैं हम सबको. ये बता रही हैं कि इसको हम कैसे प्रिजर्व कर सकते हैं, कैसे कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं. और तवी फेस्टिवल आई हैव अटेंडेड. यू आर द हार्ट एंड माइंड बिहाइंड इट. it's the festival itself is such an amazing thing that Jammu needed और आपने वो create करके दिया, वो space हमें दी, उसके लिए आपको बहुत बहुत thank you. और आपको मैं बताना चाहूंगी कि especially अमर महल, I take my children there every summer when I am there. और जो gift shop है, I want to give a shout out to the gift shop क्योंकि वहां से मैं बहुत सारे postcards, especially आपके जो vintage postcards हैं, वो मैं लेकर आती हूँ and I've gifted to British MPs here in London. आई हैव यूज्ड जो आपने बहुत सुंदर गिफ्ट शॉप में रखे हुए हैं पुराने फोटोज हैं रॉयल फैमिली के. देयर आर दीज बिग फोटोग्राफ्स स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम महाराजा गुलाब सिंह जी. वी यूज्ड ऑल दोज फोटोज एज अ शोकेस ऑफ डोगरा हिस्ट्री. तो आपके काम के हम फैन भी हैं, उससे हम प्रेरणा भी लेते हैं. एंड इट वाज जस्ट एक्स्ट्रा स्पेशल व्हेन अजय भैया टोल्ड मी आप LSR से हैं. सो इट्स माय प्लेजर टू बी इंटरैक्टिंग विद यू.
Thank you, Manuji. You're such a dynamic person yourself, and you've been doing so much for the Dogra diaspora, I think, in London. And of course, you received that award, I remember, quite recently. The Gulab, I think the Gulab Singh Award, given to you, yes. So you are doing great work, and really, it's a collective effort. It is just, the fact that I'm placed in a certain position and I can do certain things is wonderful. But I think so many people in Jammu together are doing a lot of very good work. So I think we must appreciate that. Yeah.
No, thanks, ma'am. And due to the paucity of time, else lot many people wants to see you. They want to speak with you. And मेरी बस मैम यही request है, whenever you are in Jammu, please meet all the people because people really want to listen to you, your experiences, and also the type of work you are doing, ma'am. वो बहुत important है और डोगरा प्राइड के लिए बहुत जरूरी है क्योंकि somehow मैम we keep on discussing डोगरा प्राइड थोड़ी सी एक स्टेप बैक लिया है उसने. बट फॉर्चुनेटली अब वापस हम उसी मुकाम पे आ गए हैं वेयर वी वर. अब इससे हमें आगे जाना है वेयर वी वुड बी रिक्वायरिंग योर सपोर्ट, योर गाइडेंस एंड योर मेंटरशिप. सो दैट इज very इंपॉर्टेंट. सो वी लुक फॉरवर्ड मैम whenever you will be in Jammu, meet as many Dogras, your fans you can meet, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ajay. And I must say that Intact Jammu is also doing an excellent job of preserving and bringing people together. So there are many such organizations, I think, and I'm grateful to all of them for collaborating with us for the Tawi Festival and for other projects that we take up. Thank you, Ajay.
Ajay Bhaiya, I'd like to quickly add that ma'am ki ek photograph hai where she's dressed in Dogri Suthan Kurta, which is like the epitome of when you want to showcase Dogra beauty and the beauty of our clothes. It's like the best photograph ever, which I've been proudly showing whenever somebody says, I'm like, this is our Rajkumari, ye hamari traditional dress hoti hai. So, ma'am, there is this amazing picture of you and yeah, thank you for everything you do. And I'd
Thank
quickly
you.
like to congratulate Ajay Bhai also. This is the 25th episode, and what a special episode that you are on it. And thank you, Bhaiya, for your commitment and continuity, all the hard work that you and Vikas ji have put in. Thank you so much. Congratulations to you as well.
Manu,
And next time you come to Amar Mahal, you will see that there's a whole floor dedicated to the ladies as
Oh,
well now. So
wonderful.
we'll enjoy that very much.
And ma'am,
Yeah.
very interesting. While from last 1 week we were planning this podcast, लेकिन मैम समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था which I started with कि आपको address कैसे करूँ. And same thing Manu asked me कि मैम को address कैसे करेंगे. We were thinking about Her Highness, we were thinking about Princess, but ma'am, you are so humble. Uh, Seriously, ma'am, I'm never short of words. मैं हमेशा कहीं भी बोलने जाऊं while I'm a marketeer. But ma'am, आज it was a very difficult for me to host this podcast. But you made us
Thank you.
so comfortable कि बाद में 10 मिनट बाद लगा भी नहीं कि that we are speaking with the Princess of Jammu and Kashmir, who is so much for every one of us. And now with this, I'll request Dr. Vikas to please present an official vote of thanks, and then we will end this podcast. We have taken
Thank you, Ajay. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Dr. Jyotsna Singh, ma'am, thank you so much on the behalf of entire telecast, the Tawi Tales team. ये 25वां एपिसोड था, सिल्वर जुबली एपिसोड बोलते हैं, और आपने यू मेड इट रियली स्पेशल बाय शेयरिंग योर जर्नी. और आज हमें एक साक्षात देखने का अवसर मिला कि जो हमारा राज्य है जम्मू कश्मीर, इसकी फाउंडेशंस जिन्होंने रखी वो कितनी सुंदर फाउंडेशंस हैं. यू हैव रियली गिव अस दैट ग्लिम्स टुडे. और बहुत अच्छे तरीके से आपने अपनी लाइफ जर्नी को शेयर किया, इतने अच्छे मैसेजेस दिए डोगरा यूथ को, एंड वी हैव गॉट लॉट मेनी थिंग्स टू लर्न फ्रॉम योर लाइफ. Your story beautifully reminds us that the true cultural guardianship is about breathing life into our heritage, empowering our communities, and inspiring future generations to take pride in their roots. So, ma'am, may your remarkable work continue to illuminate the path of the Dogra youth and beyond, encouraging them to embrace their legacy with creativity, courage and compassion. और हम माता वैष्णो देवी भावे वाली माता से प्रार्थना करते हैं कि आपको स्वस्थ रखें, सुखी रखें, और आपके जो जो भी मिशन है, जो भी कार्य हैं आप लाइफ में करना चाहती हैं, आप उसमें जल्दी सफल हों. और मैम, कीप गाइडिंग ऑल ऑफ अस, वी डोगरास, वी रियली नीड योर गाइडेंस